out of those 8 games we've got left, at least 6 of them, the other team is going to be gunning because they've got just as much to play for as we have, so they're not going to be easy. But something has to change in quick.
So welcome back to Small Heath Alliance FC, and on Saturday, Birmingham City lost 1-0 at home to Watford, which now leaves the Blues one space outside the relegation zone on goal difference only. Now that's 3 consecutive games without a goal, and also 1 point taken from an available 18 from our last 6 games. But let's get back to the game on Saturday against Watford. I'm going to hand it straight over to Dad. Dad, what are your initial thoughts from that game on Saturday?
Well, I think the word that comes to mind again is frustration. The performance levels were a lot higher than Middlesbrough. I mean, to be honest, it would be difficult not to be fair, but you could see that the players were trying, and we do say if they give us a bit of passion and desire, we'll forgive them. But the results at the moment, I mean, that's the 3rd game in a row we've lost 1-0. We lost 1-0 to Millwall, 89th minute corner, where we should have defended better, a mistake. We lost 1-0 to Middlesbrough, where we lost the ball through Pritchard, who lost the ball, mistake, avoidable. And once again, we've just lost 1-0 to Watford, a mistake where Ayew was tackled, avoidable, and we lose 1-0 again. It's so frustrating because I do have a lot of sympathy for Mark Venus. He said in his post-match press conference that he could defend the players this time because of the effort they put in, but he can't be accountable for mistakes like that. That's down to the players that do that. But you mentioned that the lack of points we've got in the last 10 games. We've lost 7, drawn 2, lost 1. The last 6, lost 5, drawn 1. That's relegation form, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Something needs to change quick.
It is, yeah. And I feel like we've swapped one set of problems for another. I don't mean to be too negative and pessimistic here, but, against Millwall and Borough especially, me and you were coming home from that game so disappointed with the passion and the desire, and it wasn't there. And it wasn't perfect against Watford, but it was better. There was more passion there. There was more fight. But the new set of problems came in now is that lack of killer instinct, that lack of converting 26 shots to goals. Just that lack of cohesiveness in the final third. We don't seem to be able to put the ball in the net, do we? I mean, 3 consecutive games now without goals screams volumes. Yeah. And, you've got to feel sorry for Ayew. That was a mistake. And I saw on Instagram or Twitter earlier, he'd apologised for the mistake. But, football's a team game. There's 11 players on those pitch. And that mistake would have been forgotten if the other 10 players backed him up and actually put the ball in the net. We saw Miyoshi, great save from Watford, to be fair, their keeper, brilliant save for that one chance. He has another chance a couple of minutes later just before he goes off and shoots it wide. It was another game of missed opportunities, another game where we couldn't finish a team off and have that killer instinct. So fair enough, we argue that we've lost that game from a mistake from Ayew. However, if our team was more prominent going forward, could put the ball in the net, we should have won that 2 or 3-1 in my opinion. So, I do feel a bit sorry for Ayew. And in fact, up until that point, I would argue he was possibly one of our best players. He was putting in big challenges. His distribution was nice out to the wings. He made a lovely couple of passes out to JJ and Bakuna out on the wings. But I feel really, really bad for Ayew on that one. But he did make the mistake. You can't deny it. But we need to be more clinical, don't we, going forward? 26 shots. I'm not 100% sure how many we had on target during that game. But it's that conversion rate is just is truly shocking, isn't it?
Yeah, we're watching that game up until the goal, and we were well on top in that game. We were having some really good forward football. We were creating chances, although there wasn't any clinical edge. And I think the thing that struck out for me once again was decision making in the final half.
100%.
You mentioned some of the chances that were missed by Bianchi as well, on a couple of occasions. Bakuna, one in particular in the second half that really stands out to me when Bakuna was going through on goal. He had Stansfield and Drama on the overlap free, just on the left, and all he needed to do is literally tap the ball to either of them and they're through on goal. But what does he do? He cuts in to the D and fires the ball to nearly where we are in the top tier of the Tilton, where there's an easier option. But that's true of lots of occasions where we're making poor decisions in the final half. And we've got to cut that out because we've got to realise that we're going to only score goals if we can make those final passes and those decisions much more clinical. I mean, scoring goals in the last 3 games in particular is a real worry because we've said before on a number of podcasts we are not capable of keeping a clean sheet, which means to win any game we have to score at least 2 goals. But if we concede early, if we concede first, which we inevitably do, we're automatically in an uphill task. But I look at that loss against Watford, and they didn't deserve to win the game. No way. They fair to say one of the poorest sides we've seen there this season. They're up there.
Yeah.
They're up there. But at the end of the day, football is not fair. And they won 1-0 and got all 3 points.
Well, before the game started, me and you were watching the Coventry Wolves game on the concourse, weren't we? And we saw Coventry get 2 goals in 90-plus minutes. And me and you were saying, when was the last time we had a Blues team that were possibly capable of scoring 2 goals in 90 minutes, but scoring 2 goals in 90 minutes for the duration of the game? And we even before this little bad run of 6 games, look at the Sunderland game, look at the Blackburn game. Do you remember the Blackburn game? We were over the bar, shooting from 25 yards, in the box, it was scrappy. And even in games which we've won recently, the Blackburn and Sunderland games, we're still scraping through them, not being able to finish teams off properly. And even when Blues go a goal up, or, it's 2-1 against Sunderland, we always look a bit shaky, don't we? We never look like holding on. And I think it's funny because I said at the start of the video, we've swapped one set of problems for another. The hard work kind of came back in that game, but our decision making and our clinicalness in that game was just truly awful, wasn't it? And prime example, that Bakuna chance, he should have just slid Tyler Roberts in or Stansfield in for a goal. There was many times when I just thought, do the simple pass to the right, just look, open your peripheral vision and look to the left and the right, play that player in, and we're 2-1, 3-1 up. But what do we always say? That score sheet reads Watford 1, Blues 0. We haven't got any points on the board again. And how many times, Dad, are we going to do this podcast, talk about clinical finishing, talk about decision making, and come away with nothing from the game?
But I'll tell you something, Matt, something's got to change quick. We've now got 8 games. And again, we use the cliche, which has been used since a few games ago. They're all cup finals. Well, 2 cup finals have come and gone, and we've got 0 points out of them. Yeah. Now we're left with 8. But if you look at the fixtures we've got left, we've still got to come at home, Cardiff, Preston, Norwich and Coventry. Coventry, Norwich and Preston are both gunning for the playoffs, so there's something on those games. Away from home, we've still got to go to Leicester, who are now in a position where they're going to have to win because they're getting caught by Leeds and Ipswich. And also, we've got 3 further away games against Queen's Park Rangers, Huddersfield and Rotherham.
You can't even understate how massive those games are.
What I'm getting at, out of those 8 games we've got left, at least 6 of them, the other team is going to be gunning because they've got just as much to play for as we have, so they're not going to be easy. But something has to change in quick. Again, I don't know about you, Matt. I can't fault the commitment to the players. I know that I've seen some of the comments off Blue supporters, and they're obviously reacting because they feel like we do. They feel gutted, and they've been quite sort of I would say harsh on occasions because that's just they feel for the club. So you do understand it. But I do see the effort in that game against Watford. You saw that the players wanted it; they were putting tackles in. But at the end of the day, that is really what we expect as a minimum. But then you've got to go on and be creative. You've got to win games. You've got to score goals, and you've got to put teams away. Otherwise, if we carry on this way, we're going to get relegated.
We'll get relegated.
We will. We will because particularly on current form of all the teams in the bottom, apart from Rotherham, we've got the second worst current form. So things have to change. And quickly, and it has to start against QPR, which is our next game on Good Friday.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 big questions again popping up on social media. One is the interim manager question. Do we need one for 8 games? I've been hearing a lot about Gary Rowett online. He said he would be willing to come in for the end of the season and get us through. And then I've also heard rumours about Mowbray being back on the touchline, possibly quicker than we might think. Somewhere between QPR and possibly the Preston game, somewhere in between that region. Again, all rumours. Please take that with a pinch of salt. I have no idea how true they are. And me and you did speak about this on the interim manager. So who knows how soon Mowbray will be back. But, I think Blues fans are worried. I think the fact we haven't even scored a goal in 3 games is a big red flag of where we are at the moment. But yeah, just to highlight a couple of good performances, I was impressed with. Drama. I mean, when does Drama not have a bad game? I thought he was outstanding again.
Not have a good game, you mean?
Sorry, not have a good game. Yeah. Really aggressive going forward. Good tracking back. He's just an all-round solid player. Again, I thought Buchanan. had a very good game at centre-half again. And bless him, Iwu didn't do too badly apart from, unfortunately, the big mistake that he made. But a room of improvement. I don't know how you feel about this, Dad, but JJ on the left-hand side, I don't think it works.
That's not his natural position.
He's not a winger.
No.
He's one of our best players.
Yeah.
He's one of our best shooters at distance. He can get us a goal. He's shown he can score from 20, 25 yards. Why is he out on the left?
He's a central midfielder.
It really frustrates me.
Yeah.
And again, when we're looking for goals, when you've got a player in the middle who can orchestrate and shoot, why is he out on the wing?
It's because I think the answer to that is because we've got so many midfielders that he's trying to sort of get the mix and accommodate them. What I would do with JJ is I'd play him just behind Stansfield.
Yeah.
So he's an attacking midfielder that can be supply. You're right. He's completely it's not underused there, but he's just not effective there.
Yeah.
Because he's cutting in and he does. He's almost when he plays in that position on the left wing, he sort of doesn't really have the impact that he should have because he is a progressive player. So I do agree with that. But yeah, lots of things there that we need to ensure that we address. Again, back to the usual stuff. If anybody watches our videos, our post-match videos over the last month, we've been saying the same things about clean sheets. The commitment as well, which I thought was a big improvement against Watford, and also getting the mix of players as well. I noticed as well that Pritchard was not in the team at all. I think I mentioned on the pre-match that he looked injured to me at the time. I didn't know whether he was injured, but he didn't play. Obviously, we're still out with Bielek as well. He's still not in the team. He brought back in Sunjic, who I thought did quite well actually. As a competitive midfield. I know he's got his critics. People say that Sunjic is not a ball player, but he was there to battle and to win that midfield, and he did that really, really well, I felt. And he also brought Bakuna back into the team to the starting lineup as well, along with Drama. Drama came back as well. So
I thought Bakuna made a difference. Apart from his dodgy decision making at times, he's definitely a creative player moving forward. He does give us those extra options moving forward. But
he's a frustrating
just
player
those little
for me.
niggles with decision making and passing at the wrong time. But he definitely, what I like about him is he's nippy. So when he's out on the wing, he opens up pockets of space, but we just can't utilise them or have the intelligence moving forward to pick out those pockets.
He frustrates me because he's obviously got the ability, Bakuna, but that's the difference between being a good player, which he is, between someone who's really good, who could potentially play in like maybe lower Premier League team. If he was to make his final decision making would be improved, just to spot a ball. If you could mix him with the mind of Pritchard, who can see a ball and stuff like that, he would be a really, really good player. But that frustrates the life out of him because particularly that one instance I mentioned earlier, where literally we had two runners, Drama on the overlap and Stanfield. All he needed to do was play it through, and they literally would have been through either of them through on the goalkeeper. But he decided to take it in field and pinged it as well. So he does frustrate me. Although I can't argue that he has got ability. But another game gone, Matt.
Yeah.
Another 0 points, and now precariously hovering just above those bottom three.
Absolutely. And I've just got a couple of points I want to mention just so they don't get missed. I didn't have the time to jump back on your Watford comment because it came back about Blues, but I thought Watford were poor. I thought that Asprilla especially, he's one of their danger men, was really poor. Didn't really show as much at all. They had a few nice patches of play. They had a couple of chances themselves for sure. We can't deny that, but I thought overall they were going to bring a lot more. And I know they're not at full strength at the moment, but they came and played exactly as I thought. They like to use the wings, don't they? They go down those wings quite well at times, but overall I thought Watford were pretty poor, unfortunately. Watford fans, please leave us a comment. What were your thoughts on the game and your performance in particular? And there's just two final things for me. 27 shots we had. And again, I know we've talked about the decision-making and the conversion rate, but to have 27 shots... Five
on target.
Five on target, is just a killer. And also, again, Mark Venus's decision-making in terms of the substitutions again. Why did he bring George Hall on and put him on at right-back? I didn't quite get that, and I didn't quite get Gary Gardner came on, was a bit ineffective. But again, we've questioned Mark Venus's substitutions and timing of substitutions for the past couple of weeks, haven't we really? But just a few extra things I wanted to add in there. But anything final for you, Dad, before we do the close there?
No, I just think that Mark Venus is getting a lot of stick at the moment, and It's difficult, isn't it? He's Tony Mowbray's number two. He's not a manager. He never was. He's stepped into the shoes because of Tony being unwell.
Yeah.
I hope that Blues fans can give him a bit of sympathy, really, because okay, I know he's in charge of the team. I know he's there to get us victories and points and stuff like that. But as Blues fans, we've got to stick together here. At the end of the day, and we've said this before as well, is that in the summer, regardless of what happens, there's a big reset anyway
Yeah.
because of all the players out of contract and all the loan players will go back. So I just hope that as a fan base we stick together. I understand the frustrations. We feel it as well. I mean, it was a horrible feeling being in the stadium on Saturday against Watford because you're just waiting for the place to erupt, and it never happened because we were just looking for goals, and you're feeling anxious, and we know that's how the Blues fans feel at the moment.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, based upon their commitments, can't fault that. But we've got to start transferring that to points now.
And you know what? Again, with all things said, I still think we will be okay. I really do. I mean, again, we've joked about it. We could be saying this on the final podcast, final game of the season, where we just make it on goal difference. Who knows? But and regardless, whether we stay up, whether we go down, we will be season ticket holders. We will support and love our club, and we will be there next season, regardless of where we are, won't we?
Exactly. If we have to go to Bramall Lane or to Mansfield, we'll be still there supporting the club through all the thick and thin.
Absolutely. So you've just heard our thoughts and opinions from the game on Saturday. But what are your thoughts? We'd love to hear from you. Blues fans, Watford fans, please let us know. Do you agree with our opinions? Blues fans, were you equally as frustrated with those missed opportunities and that decision making in the final third? And Watford fans, did you agree that was a bit of an underwhelming performance from you, or is there more in the tank from your team going into this final stretch in the season? Please let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we've also got a new Instagram page and a new X page where the handles will be popping up on screen now, so please give us a follow across those. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any future content.